Mr. Adam Jackson, lead class design for Diablo 4. And he went out on Twitter and he said, Necromancers, we've been talking on the team about minion builds and how they've been working out. I'm like, yeah, awesome. This is going to be so good to read. I'm curious, how do you feel about amount of power minions have in relation to the player? Well, they're pretty freaking inferior compared to pretty much any other choice that the Necromancer has. But this is kind of logical, seeing that they had 3 main core fantasies for the actual class. One was blood, the other one was shadow, and the last one was bone. Minions were just supposed to be like an added extra thing for them to have as a flavor, either in the form of sacrificing them for better bonuses or keeping them as utility minions or meat shields. Anyways, he goes on to say, as an example, knowing both can only add up to X, the minions need more powers or players less. So essentially what he's saying is there's a threshold with, let's say, 100%. Now that 100% is now a finished class with a bunch of different builds that all adds up to 100%. And he's asking if the difference between the minion builds and the non-minion builds are on par or more or less. That's basically what he's asking. To keep things balanced, they can't just buff minions with this specific approach to the game. They can't just buff them because then it would exceed X and therefore they would have to take something away elsewhere, or this would be, the meta class that everybody plays. So I get that that sentiment, right? What I don't get is that when they're saying minions, how do you feel about minions in relation to other players? I'm like, we cannot make a statement. Like, we literally cannot make a statement about whether or not minions are better or in a good position or really bad right now in relation to players. So why is this? Well, there's a couple of major things. First one is aggro range of the minions, making them by default inferior to any other build in the game, pretty much. Well, I guess they're still better than minion druids, I'll tell you that. And then you have the list of other issues, which are bugs for that matter, such as the hardened bones, which looks like this. Let me show you. Hardened bones. We're in a position where this gives all your minions damage reduction. It only applies to one of your minions, not all of your minions. So, well, that's just a lie. The damage output of the minions are either conditional in the form of thorns, having the condition being the enemy hitting you, or Ring of Mendon, where it's all about me creating lucky hits, and then 10% of those lucky hits can trigger Mendon, making the minions just vessels to carry out the item command, basically, right? So again, to go back to a few other things, my problem with this is essentially that suggesting that the options on the board for the community to pick and choose from, it seems like a way too broad of a scope when the core issues are caused by lack of information, bugs, glitches. Player power looks fine though, whilst the minion power is significantly lower. And part of that reason is obviously lack of information. Now, if they did give us like a DPS meter at the target dummy, a lot of these questions would be able to take it away, because you can actually just sim it yourself and see which one does the most damage and go for that item, which is actually a really good approach to the game personally. But that's not the world we live in. It's better to apparently have literally no clue what the actual problem with minions are, and then ask a question out of which none of the answers are the correct one. So that's basically the position that I'm in when it comes to what has been said.